as well. Want to make certain that everything is working the way it is supposed to. I will warn everybody, I don't know what the problem was, whether it was overuse of the internet last week or whether it was internal gremlins or whatever it was. We had some very big issues in regards to internet, to where our signal just basically cut out on us and we were not getting anything out, audio or visual. So it's possible, unfortunately, that we may see that again coming up later on tonight as we get into the rest of this forecast here. Let me just make certain that okay, so far so good on the audio on that. If you're in and around the area, we've got the stream chat functioning, so if you've got a question or two regarding the forecast, just go ahead and drop them into the chat function on either YouTube or on Twitch at this time. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. This is Monday, the 9th of September. It is Monday night and decently quiet again tonight. We may be seeing some changes heading our direction in the course of the next several days from this, which has developed in the western Gulf of Mexico. It was a tropical depression earlier, now becoming a tropical storm known as Francine. That's the F storm, and it's not alone. We've got another couple of systems out into the eastern Atlantic that we're going to have to watch out for. So we'll talk more about that coming up in just a little while. If you've never been on here before, this is our live video weather blog enabling you, the viewer, to ask questions as to what's going on with the forecast, whether it's here in the Chattanooga area or whether it's around the world, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on board. But for now, if you've got questions, we'd love to see what you're asking about in the comments section. So go ahead and check in and see what's going on out there for now. And again, we would love to be able to answer your questions. If we can't do it in short order, we will let you know more about where you can get more information coming up in just a little bit. So that's enough for the introductions. Let's go ahead and get going and show you what we had for today. Temperatures very close to where we should be on the high temperature. Low temperatures were about a category below normal. It was a very brisk, beautiful morning out there, and numbers back in the high 50s. Not a record low. You'd have to get into the 40s for that, but we are getting to that time of the year. We are now an inch plus behind for the month and 9 and nearly a third inches behind for the year. So we desperately need some rainfall. We might make up some of that in the course of the next couple of days. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. Lee Point looking off to what was a beautiful sunset for tonight on the Plainview Outdoor Advertising camera on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network, which you can access at wdef.com/weather. Few folks out and about. Looks like a post-soccer game of some sort at Coolidge Park. Few folks out and about on the footbridge. A beautiful evening and likewise a beautiful sunset from the Speedy's Total Car Care camera at the Chattanooga Theater Center. Let's take one more look around from CHI Memorial Stadium. Very light traffic at 2475, the interstate junction in south central areas of Chattanooga tonight. Beautiful conditions there. And the Chattanooga Zoo webcam, Erlanger Hospital, the railroad tracks, the zoo down toward the bottom portion, and also a decent amount of beautiful sunset for tonight off to the west. So not looking at too bad conditions out there. 77 at the airport. Numbers again, very healthy amounts of humidity, very dry conditions with numbers back in the 40% range out there. And numbers have been very pleasant throughout the entire day, back in the mid to high 60s, a few lower 60s showing up here and there, and some 50s over toward North Carolina. This is the News 12 viewing area: northeast Alabama, northwest Georgia, southeast Tennessee, and western North Carolina, keeping you updated as to what's going on with weather in the News 12 viewing area. Again, you can follow our website down below on the red bar at the bottom of the screen at wdef.com/weather if you'd like to check and see what's going on. We've got some much more warmer conditions well on down to our south. This hot air is going to be heading up our direction in the next several days. We'll be looking for some toastier numbers coming up just above normal for tomorrow, and also right about normal, about, again, 87, 88 degrees as we get into Wednesday. After that, things are really going to be changing into the near future, and we'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for more on our complete forecast here. Temperatures throughout the course of the next several days, again, probably going to be just above normal, then below normal, probably back upwards again. 12 days and change until the change in season. The autumn countdown clock showing the equinox occurring Sunday, September 22nd at 8:43 Eastern Time in the morning. So we'll be looking forward to that change coming up here pretty soon. All right, high pressure well in control of the east central United States, and for that matter for the southeastern United States as well. So we do have some very nice conditions here. We've got our leftover front from last week still hanging around the Gulf Coast area, and that has been our system that is keeping the warm, moist air down toward the Gulf, and the high pressure dominating here, keeping the very dry conditions well back to the north of the rim of the Gulf Coast. So not doing entirely too badly, but again, for right now, this is the big weather story, Francine, and this is what we are looking for right now. The system, we were waiting for the latest update from the National Hurricane Center, and as of 7 o'clock, the issuance was pretty much exactly the same as of the earlier updates from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Winds are just below hurricane strength at approximately 65 miles per hour. So we do have, again, this front kind of blocking the moisture from moving too far north, but this stationary system that is just barely moving to the northwest is expected to kind of curve back toward the north and to the east. This is a big area of low pressure, so again, air around low pressure in the northern hemisphere rotates counterclockwise, so this is going to be pushing a lot of moisture up on shore, and that should be giving us some changes in the next few days. We're not seeing much of any effects out of this. The clouds off of anything involving the rotation of Francine sitting across portions of the northern rim of the Gulf of Mexico. There's really just not that much going on at this time, but we are expecting that to change in the course of the next couple of days. Let's take a look and see what's going on into the area with the Hurricane Hunter's wing, and the hunters they're still in the storm. They're doing low-level recon for right now. You can see the path that they've been on here for the last several hours, doing swaths through the storm, which is a pretty typical pattern for right there. This is, again, the way the hurricane hunters fly through the storm and give us that close-up interior idea as to what is going on. So we did not see anything earlier that showed a big increase, and so far we're staying at 65 miles per hour for the sustained amounts of wind, but this is going to be what is expected out of this in the next couple of days. This will be leaving these guys and gals here in the plane from the hurricane hunters will be heading out of the storm pretty soon. They've been in there for the last few hours studying what is going on. So what is expected out of this into the next several days? Let me see if I can get this here. Okay, so timing the storm for right now. The storm expected to, at some point in time, earlier tomorrow morning, I should say, we're expecting to see this become a Category 1 hurricane by about this time tomorrow. It's kind of wandering slowly around that rim of the Gulf close to the mouth of the Rio Grande. Then this system starts to curve to the north and to the east as it goes over those exceptionally warm waters, and we're talking 90 degrees plus in parts of the Gulf. This is expected by about 48 hours from now to be a Category 2 hurricane. So this right here, Let me make certain everybody can see this. Pardon me for that. I didn't see on Twitch that the monitor was in the way. Apologies for that. It was director, producer, host, and I wear a lot of hats getting this podcast on the air. So unfortunately, sometimes things fall by the wayside. So apologies to those on Twitch who couldn't see that particular section of the screen. All right, Category 2 by 6 p.m. on Wednesday. And then we go forward to about landfall early Thursday morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Landfall as a Category 2 expected between Houston and around the area of the Crescent City. So that will be landfall about 48 to 60 hours away. And the track from the National Hurricane Center, following the computer spaghetti models, as they're called, very, very easily on there. So let me see if I can get rid of that real quick and show you the number of lines that you see there. That is the majority of the computer models that are in agreement as to where this system is going. The National Hurricane Center's forecast in the white cone laid almost right on top of that, so it could go anywhere within this particular white cone, as far west as Houston or as far east as just to the west of New Orleans. So that is going to be where we see the storm up until about Thursday. Then it starts its movement up and onshore, so it'll lose strength very, very quickly. Tropical storm, northeast Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, 50-mile-per-hour winds possible. And then the system goes up and over the Mid-South area, still as a tropical depression. So between Little Rock and Jackson, Tennessee, Jonesboro, Arkansas, south of St. Louis, there could be some very breezy winds. It doesn't look like, again, tropical strength, but it should be organized enough to keep those winds flowing around that common depression center. So we could see some choppy travel east of Fort Smith and west of Nashville. We could pick up some of that wind here in parts of the News 12 viewing area as we go toward about Thursday evening. Now, beyond that, this is where the current forecast takes it for about the next 5 days, give or take, somewhere in there. So we have to be ready here for that potential of getting some possible cast-off rainfall from all of that. I'm going to walk you through this here on the timeline. Tonight into tomorrow morning, mid to upper 50s to lower 60s. High pressure remains in control, very comfortable. High pressure moves to the east. Winds start to turn out of the east-southeast, and that is going to give us more clouds at first. And then we get into some very pleasant conditions for temperatures, but more clouds expected, but no rainfall on Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, still looking at the showers and thunderstorms well on down to our south. And then by Thursday morning, what's left of that system, still a tropical storm possibly down by Jackson, Mississippi, starts to move this moisture up. So early Thursday morning, the kids going to school might need some rain protection there. And by Thursday afternoon and evening, a very good possibility that we'll see much more widespread rainfall, thunderstorms possible. It does not look to be a severe weather situation, so some definite good news there. We'll keep our eyes on that. From Thursday night, more widespread rain coming through. Friday morning, the kids will need some rain protection. And as we go toward Friday afternoon and evening, this is not looking good for Friday night football. I don't think it's going to be a total washout, but what I do see is a lot of widespread rain across much of the southeastern United States. So this is something that really could be affecting travel, outdoor activities, sports included, and anything involving going to and fro the area Friday night. Now, how long this takes to get out of here, that's another interesting question, because according to some of the long-range models from the Weather Prediction Center, this area of low pressure, the leftover low, might hover around Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and maybe Illinois for a couple of days. So this might continue to bring warm, moist air off the Gulf of Mexico as long as this sits here and continues to rotate and holds together in that area. We could see some leftover showers and maybe some thunderstorms out of this. Again, severe weather, we're just not seeing an issue out of that for now. That could change. We'll be watching that with a lot of interest into the next couple of days. But it looks like toward the end of the week, better chances of showers and thunderstorms fed by that moisture off the Gulf and by that fairly strong leftover, possibly future to be from tonight hurricane. So again, that's something to really keep an eye on if you're going to be traveling. Officials of the games coming up this Friday, possibly even into Saturday, are really going to have to watch what's going on with the weather, because if we start getting into a very rainy, possibly stormy Friday night, a lot of games out there should not be played if there's lightning going on, and especially with the wind expected the way that it's supposed to be. So officials of the local schools, the referees, the umpires, the lines, all the people who are in charge of managing the games for Friday night or the next several days, you really need to be weather aware. You need to watch out what's going on. The crowd, the players, everybody's safety at any outdoor activities, games or otherwise, you need to be paying attention to this, because there's no point having a great big open air contest or whatever event you've got if you're just going to be soaked to death and have the possibility of lightning around the area. That's very dangerous. When thunder roars, go indoors. Let's all be safe, and let's all make certain we're paying attention to this. So definitely want to stay tuned, as things may change on this into the next several days. Well, if my cursor would agree with me. Better conditions. This forecast is updated every 6 hours, and we were looking at less than an inch about 4 or 5 hours ago. Now we're up to 1.25 inches. The worst of the rainfall looks like it is going to be from Chattanooga here back to the west, south of St. Louis, down toward the Mississippi Delta, into around the bayous and the coastal areas here. Could be 4 to as much as 6 inches. Off the Gulf Coast, we might be looking at 10 inches plus. Now, it only takes a little bit for these systems to wobble back and forth or to go one direction or another. Right now, this is the preferred path for the heaviest amount of rainfall. It will not take much for this heavy rain to move a little closer to us, which means we might start looking at the potential of flash flooding into the next couple of days. There's nothing in effect for the area right now. It's mainly south and away from us where all of this is located, but there could be that potential of seeing worse conditions out there when it comes to heavier amounts of rainfall. This also needs to be monitored. And let's take a look real quick here, make certain that I got it in the right place. Here we go. Wind gusts for the next about 3 to 4 days. Tonight, not much. Very light winds. It's going to be decently calm as we go into tomorrow morning, 5 to 10 miles per hour, maybe an occasional wind gust in the higher elevations, but that's about it. Fast forwarding over the next couple of days, by Wednesday we start to see a little bit breezier in the afternoon, and then as we get into Thursday afternoon, we get wind gusts, especially in the higher elevations around here, trying to top about 20, nearing 30 miles per hour. The river valley itself might not see that much to begin with, and these will be seen as kind of unseasonably windy conditions. We're getting into mountain wave season around here, where the winds can really howl at various points in time. But toward about Thursday into Friday, that is where we may see the worst sustained winds coming on through, 20 to 30 miles per hour possible. So that is where we're going to be looking at the potential problems for rain, possible storms, possible gusty winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour plus. So we could be looking at some choppy driving conditions out there. So definitely a time to keep an eye out with what is going on, especially as this system curves up to our north and west and alters our weather forecast in a very big way. This is good news for us. It's bad news for outdoor activities, but it's good news. If you saw the almanac at the beginning of this presentation, we are way behind on rain. One of our chief engineers, Mr. Mark Dunn, came in here earlier today to talk about some computer upgrades, and he mentioned that every time he walked across his lawn, it was kind of dry and crunchy and dusty. when he walked around that, and I can't argue with that. That sounds very common to what we've been experiencing over the last several days. So it is, again, something we desperately need at this time to give us the potential of some of that relief. But nothing happening immediately at this point, so some definite good news on that. All right, that being said, let me change my background here real quick so that we get a different view. And let's take a look at the 7-day forecast from Island Cove Marina and Resort. There's a little bit of starlight coming through out there, but not totally clear either. From Lake Chickamauga on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam Network. Again, that's available at wdef.com/weather. Hot and sunny for Tuesday, just above normal, right about normal on Wednesday. And then the winds kick up as we go from Thursday into Friday, and that is where we see the best potential of rainfall beginning. And then that area of low pressure parks itself up to our north and west, and that is where we may see some residual rain Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Temperatures will go from hot to very pleasant to just a little bit warmer as we go toward the early part of the middle part of September. So that's going to be the best potential we have of anything involving huge amounts of rainfall coming up. And again, that will hopefully help us out when it comes to our drought situation and any wildfire danger. The problem is, again, from Wednesday night through about next Monday, we could be looking at some great weather for doing stuff indoors. So Friday night football, anything into the weekend, you're going to have to watch out for the potential of more showers and thunderstorms. The greatest chance on Friday, Thursday, and Friday, and then diminishing a bit, but still sticking around as we go from Saturday, Sunday into Monday or so. So that, again, for right now, will be the best opportunity for our rain chances from this leftover storm system. Here's hoping it doesn't get too bad, because the last thing we need is for a major hurricane to make a landfall anywhere near. But yes, we could definitely use some of that extra amount of rainfall out there for today. All right, since International Observe the Moon Night is coming up this weekend, thanks very much to News 12 viewer Ricky Broom from Somerville, Georgia. Took a shot of the waning gibbous moon a few nights ago, and as he says here, the tint due possibly to the smoke from all the wildfires local and back to the west of us. So kind of a hazy glow there, but a beautiful shot of our lunar satellite. That again from Ricky Broom in Somerville, Georgia. Thank you very much for sending that in. If you've got a picture, lunar or otherwise, as long as it's weather related, we'll take whatever we can get. So send them in to us. And we are running behind a bit, so if you could please send some in, that would really help us out. I don't care where it comes from as long as it's weather related. So if you live in Timbuktu or Walla Walla, Washington, or next door to Chattanooga someplace, send them in. We'd love to see them. We'll feature them. If you don't want to have your name used, that's fine. You can be anonymous, but you please send us a description and or location so we can tell everybody else what it was that you were seeing or looking at or visiting at that time. Email it to us, drop into our social media pages, or again, go to our website, wdef.com/weather, if you'd like to know a little bit more about what is happening there. Excuse me. Beg your pardon. I think it's the first time I've sneezed online in quite some time. So for right now, again, the best potential of what we're going to be looking for is going to be for that tropical system to give us some amounts of rainfall coming up here, but probably not that much. When it comes to things lunar, I wish that I could say that things are going to be very good for this next week, but unfortunately it's looking like Saturday could be a bit of a problem here. This Saturday is International Observe the Moon Night. You may say to yourself, okay, big deal, I can go out and observe the moon whenever I please, so what does this have to do with anything? Well, the best thing about this is that, unfortunately, this is not looking good. Barnard Astronomical Society holding their International Observe the Moon Night event coming up Saturday, September 14th, 7 to 11 p.m. It's a night designed to get people interested in astronomy that have never gone outside and done enough appropriate stargazing before, getting your kids, getting your grandkids interested in astronomy. This is a great night to do it. Go out, snap a picture of the moon, put it on social media. Again, hopefully the weather's going to be clear enough. Unfortunately, it's not looking good on the extended forecast from what we just showed you on the 7-day and from what I'm looking at here on the monitor across and off screen from the National Weather Service. So hopefully we get through this and we get some clearer skies, but if it is not going to be conducive, again, this is weather dependent, so the Barnard Astronomical Society will let you know on their website and on their social media pages if they are actually going to hold the event. Thanks to Barnard Astronomical Society for doing events like this to get the public interested in what's going on with astronomy. Very cool of you guys and gals to do this. So thank you very much. And again, hopefully the weather is conducive. If it is not, find out more at barnardastronomy.org. And there are more star parties coming up toward the end of the year where the weather hopefully will be, decently quiet out there. So for tomorrow, getting the kids to school, I don't think you're going to have a problem. Chilly in the morning. Could be some temperatures in the 50s, so that jacket or that pullover might not be such a bad idea. Then we go into the rest of the day, and I think mid to upper 80s are going to be a good possibility around dismissal time. Could even push 90 degrees tomorrow, so that could be a bit of an issue out there into the rest of the forecast. So please consider that for the kids. Later on during the week, you can forget the umbrella Tuesday, but toward Thursday and Friday, it's a good possibility they're going to need some rain protection going to and coming back home from school again. So definitely time to pay attention to what's going on with the weather out there. So that could be a bit of a concern out there, so definitely want to keep it tuned. We'll update you on News 12, so definitely want to stay tuned for more about what's going on there. Let's see. I didn't get, unfortunately, the weather program. Let's go ahead and do tomorrow's page today. The answer to today's poll is already posted, which was a sling psychrometer, the portable device designed to measure humidity and temperature and give you the dew point of in and around the atmosphere. It's called a sling psychrometer. So Tuesday's page is already up and going. I accidentally pushed the button on this for the night side version to be published. So tropical cyclones are responsible for generating how much in total damages from 1980 through 2021? This from NOAA and the National Hurricane Center. How much is that possible in about a 41-year period? 500 million, 500 billion, or 1.1 trillion dollars. And if you'd like to vote on this, go to our website, wdef.com/vote now. Use the QR code to find out more. And again, you can go to our website for more news and sports polls as well. And thanks to Friendin Roofing for being our poll sponsor for that for the day. Let me see, I think that's going to be it. We do have a comet swinging this way. It's expected to be hopefully coming into view within about the next week and a half or so. It's Comet C/2023 A3, or Sunsin Atlas Comet. C/2023, about the best again to remember on that, but it's expected to be seen somewhere around the area of constellations Hydra, the Crater, and Virgo, September 15th through roughly about early to mid-October. Now, comets are notoriously hard to predict. They might just completely and totally dissolve, fizzle, with the sun's rays beating on it. It could cause it to expand, explode, and go its own separate ways. But if there's enough minerals, enough ice, enough water, enough gas, it is possible that this could be a naked eye comet in about the next couple of weeks. So that's something we're going to be watching with a lot of interest. Thank you very much, Tony Rice from What's Up in Space. This comes from his email newsletter. Had to borrow the graphic here for that. So thank you very much, Mr. Tony Rice, for your email and your research on solar flares and comets and all kinds of neat things in the night sky and the daytime sky for that matter. If you'd like to look up more about that, great opportunity to find out more from Mr. Tony Rice on there. More about what's going on again around the area, please drop by our website, wdef.com/weather. You can download our News 12 weather app, where you can also get the latest episode of Weather Overtime available through the app if you'd like to take a look at that. Or you can go to my social media pages. I'm on all these pages. The station is only on the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, Discord, YouTube, Tumblr, Counter Social, Mastodon. You can also catch me on LI Chess and chess.com if you'd like to check out more about what's going on there. But I tend to diversify. Also, Facebook kicked me off, and I can't get back on again until they accept my credentials, which they have refused to do. So I'm no longer on Facebook, possibly permanently. We're not entirely too sure about that. We'll bring you updates on what it's going to be looking like for Friday Night Football for the next several days, because right now it's not looking like it's going to be a sunny and dry disposition type of game out there. It'd be nice if it was, but I just don't really see that happening at this point. So for right now, that should do it for Weather Overtime. Thanks to everybody on Twitch and YouTube, all the new subscribers. Glad to have you along. Glad everybody is signed up and following along for here. If there's something you'd like to see, please let us know. We'd love to be able to bring you more weather information on here, so please give us a shout. My email address at the bottom of the screen, aonic@wdef.com, and you can also reach all of us, again, down at the bottom of the screen, wdef.com/weather, if you'd like to get more details as to what's going on and contact anybody here at News 12. If you've got a story idea, we would love to see it, hear about it, email it to us as far in advance as possible. So if we can cover it for you, we'll know about it and can put it on the calendar. You never know, it's possible. We can't guarantee coverage because of the nature of this business, but we can at least get it on the calendar and at least talk to everyone about what's going on if we know about it ahead of schedule. So please give us an idea as to what your story idea is all about and get to our website. Again, wdef.com is the place to go for more on that. All right, that should do it for Monday night. Again, we'll have updates from the National Hurricane Center coming up a little bit later on, so stay tuned for more on that. Again, everything at our website, wdef.com. I'll be on with News 12 and your forecast on News at 11, and Chip Chapman will have more coming up bright and early tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, starting at 5 a.m. Eastern. So please drop by for the News 12 morning show, again, starting at 5 o'clock Eastern Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us for Monday,